Here's a picture of a plane.
Oh, yes.
Which was on fire in Japan.
They collided with another plane, didn't they?
That's what I heard. It's fucking just the BBC story on it here. I'm not sure if I'm legally allowed to play this. Fair use.
When has that stopped you before?
And we start with breaking news from Japan. Fire crews at Tokyo's Haneda International Airport are tackling a serious blaze on board a Japan Airlines Airbus A350 plane. Well, these are live pictures, and across the last hour or so, we've seen flames steadily engulf the craft. Reports suggest the plane collided with a Coast Guard plane on the runway. And this was the moment the plane landed at Haneda International. Most of the 379 people on board the plane, passengers and crew, have been safely evacuated, according to Japan Airlines. Although several are missing, that's from the Coast Guard.
Impressive fireball. So, I think was it Ez/Garo in live chat in the audience room that brought this up before the stream, that when we watched Die Hard 2 yesterday, I think some people were commenting that the plane explosion was unrealistic, and that is often the case in Hollywood and other movies. They'll show an explosion as being what's called low explosive. I think that's what it's called, where it's mostly fireball. You get that when you're cooking off fuel, but you don't get that from military explosives, from explosives where the explosion itself is meant to do damage, or the explosion is meant to cause damage through shrapnel, for example. A grenade, for example, will produce almost no fire. It will just produce a shockwave, and it will throw fucking shards of metal out. And most useful explosives are high explosive, meaning no fireball. But most pyrotechnics, most Hollywood explosives, because they look more impressive, are the fireball explosives. And that was what was in Die Hard 2. The plane exploded in a massive ball of fire. And people said that's unrealistic. However, not sure it is, actually. And as you can see here, big fireball. This is real footage. It is just a big metal can full of very flammable liquid. It's much more flammable than car fuel. I think it's kerosene, right? So that's probably pretty much what it would look like. And that was the point Ez wanted to make with this. But also, big explosion. Highly refined kerosene, yeah. All right, so why is there Star Wars on the side of this plane? Don't care. Yeah, big old fireball.
Although several are missing, that's from the Coast Guard plane that was involved in the collision. A spokesman said
impressive fireball, though.
In Tokyo from the northern island of Hokkaido. Japan's Coast Guard says its aircraft was on its way to Niigata Airport to deliver aid to the earthquake-hit Noto Peninsula. That's according to...
Yeah, there was a decent-sized earthquake recently in Japan. That's pretty involved with this. Lots more footage of it just being on fire. But in summary, chat, that's about it. I don't know if we know why it happened. I'll read a bit of the article, because I don't think I should use the BBC's thing. A large passenger plane and a Japanese Coast Guard aircraft collided on the runway at Tokyo's Haneda Airport on Tuesday and burst into flames, killing 5 people aboard the Coast Guard plane, officials said. All 379 people on Japan Airlines flight JAL 516 got out safely before the Airbus A350 was fully engulfed in flames, Transport Minister Tetsuo Saito confirmed. Tetsuo Saito, that sounds like an anime character. The pilot of the Coast Guard's Bombardier-8 plane escaped, but get it, Bombardier. But the 5 crew members died, Saito said. The aircraft was preparing to take off to deliver aid to an area affected by a major earthquake on Monday, officials said. It's quite an impressive fireball. Television footage showed an orange fireball erupting from the Japan Airlines plane as it collided with landing, and the airliner then spewed smoke from its side as it continued down the runway. Within 20 minutes, all passengers and crew members slid down emergency chutes to get away. As firefighters,
it was actually really impressive how many people that they managed to save.
Yeah, absolutely. As firefighters tried to put out the blaze with streams of water, the area around the passenger plane's wing caught fire. The flames spread throughout the plane, which eventually collapsed. The fire was extinguished after about 6 hours. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I think these planes, their wings are mostly full of fuel as well. It may have been the small plane's fault. I don't think we know the details.
At the plane they hit, it seems like it was a plane that was going to help the people with the after the earthquake.
So maybe there was an unusual schedule.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happened with Japanese people. If you fuck up like the schedule at all, the plane crashes happen. So
Yeah. Yeah, Ginger, that's what I mean. Like, it's a 7.6. Don't overestimate. It's not like it's a 9. Come on. Tuesday's accident was the first severe damage to an Airbus A350 among the industry's newest large passenger planes. It entered commercial service in 2015. Airbus said in a statement it was sending specialists to help Japanese and French officials investigating the accident, and that the plane was delivered to Japan Airlines in late 2021. The A350 had flown from Shin Chitose, that's what I'm saying, airport near the city of Sapporo, and the transport minister said. The fire is likely to be seen as the key test case for airplane fuselages made from carbon composite fibers, such as the A350 and the Boeing 787, instead of conventional aluminium skins. Quote, "We don't know that much about how composites burn," said safety consultant John Cox. "This is the most catastrophic composite airplane fire that I can think of. On the other hand, that fuselage protected passengers from a really horrific fire. It did not burn through for some period of time and let everyone get out." Well, that's good, because if you can get the composite working, I expect that would be better because it's a bit lighter than aluminium, I think, and still about as strong, I think. So you probably save quite a lot of money from using that over time. It might be more expensive to actually build it from that, but over time, I think you probably save money. As long as it protects the passengers, you're good. So apparently it seems to. It may even protect them more from the heat, because if you have an aluminium fuselage, maybe it would become like an oven. But with carbon composite, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe toxic fumes, though? I don't know. JAL Managing Executive Officer Tadayuki Tsutsumi, another weird, like, anime-ish name. Have you noticed that, Dai? Why does everyone involved with this case have, like, anime names?
It's a mystery.
It is a mystery. Told a news conference late Tuesday that the A350 was making a normal entry and landing on the runway without specifying how it collided with the Coast Guard plane. Well, that makes it sound like the Coast Guard plane was in the way. Noriyuki Aoki, another one, also a managing executive officer at JAL, said the airline maintains that the flight had received permission to land from aviation officials. So maybe the officials fucked up. Not the plane's fault.
Yeah, there was definitely a fuck up happening where, like, they were probably somebody didn't know that the runway was being used right then and there for like the emergency services, and they gave permission.
Yeah,
and
that'll
then
be it.
this happened. Yeah, something like that probably, especially
Yep,
New Year's as well. So there was probably a lot of chaos happening that day.
that is probably exactly right. Yeah. Police are expected to investigate the accident on suspicion of professional negligence, NHK television reported. Yeah, I think you're correct there, Dai. Coast Guard
Usually the simple
said,
answer is the correct one.
Yeah,
Usually.
Coast Guard spokesperson Yoshinori Yanagishima, another one, said its Bombardier Dash 8 plane, which is based at Haneda, had been due to head to Niigata to deliver relief goods. We knew that already. The turboprop Dash 8 is widely used on short-haul and commuter flights. So I think that would be a smaller plane than the passenger plane. The Coast Guard pilot reported to his base that his aircraft exploded after colliding with the commercial plane. Vice Commander Yoshio Seguchi told reporters. Shigenori had something, head of the Transport Ministry Civil Aviation Bureau, said the collision occurred when the JAL plane landed on one of Haneda's 4 runways where the Coast Guard aircraft was preparing to take off. Transport safety officials were analysing communications between aviation control officials on the 2 aircraft and planned to interview JAL officials to determine what led to the collision. So this article is making it pretty clear that we still don't know for sure, but I do think Dai is correct. Hiroka praised JAL for taking appropriate procedures to safely evacuate all passengers and crew members. That is impressive. Swede Anton Dabe, 17, a passenger on the Japan Airlines plane, told Swedish newspaper Aftonbladet that the entire cabin was filled with smoke within a few minutes. We threw ourselves down on the floor, then the emergency doors were opened and we threw ourselves at them. Well, it went well. The smoke in the cabin stung like hell. It was a hell. We have no idea where we're going, so we just ran out into the field. It was chaos, Deeb added. I bet it was. Still a good-sized plane, says Atraumatic. Yes. Yeah, it is. It looks like it's not actually that much smaller than the passenger plane. It is smaller, but not a lot more.
Didn't 4 of them die in that plane?
5 of them, yeah.
5 was, yeah. Damn.
It sounds quite possible that the no one in either of the planes was to blame for this. That
it just seems like a massive miscommunication problem that happened there. Oh, someone's losing their job, though.
I expect so.
Definitely.
Yeah. To be honest, it's a wonder this doesn't happen more often with how complex the amount of, not just how complex the job is, but how bad most programmers are. That's the reason I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often. All right. That's that story. I don't think there's much more to say to it. This is the end of the article too. Yeah. I don't think anything else here is really worth reading out, but it's the busier of two major airports serving the Japanese capital, that one in particular. So maybe the busiest airport in the country, I'm not sure. Shows good training about the getting people off. 14 other people were injured. 4 passengers taken to a medical facility. So, yeah. Chance some of them will die, but possibly not. So there you go. That's that story.